1,000 cases of their Fiesta corn because there's a risk it could poison you.
You crack open a can expecting dinner, but instead it hisses out chemical steam and a smell closer to a locker room than a kitchen. These cans are sold as safe, cheap, and family-friendly, yet they're loaded with salt, sugar, and additives that can wreck your health. And the worst part? They're still stacked in every U.S. grocery aisle. We're counting down the 4 worst canned foods you should never touch, and finishing with 4 safe picks you'll actually want in your pantry. Let's start with a tiny can that hides a massive problem. Sliding into the list at number 4 is Libby's Vienna sausages, the so-called quick protein snack that smells more like pet food the second you pop the lid. The hiss of the can, the whiff of metallic oil, and that pale rubbery log sliding out. Tell me that doesn't send a shiver down your spine. Here's the setup. Libby's markets these little sausages as a portable, shelf-stable source of protein. They're supposed to be convenient, comforting, and safe. Instead, they're fat bombs hiding inside a 3-inch can. One serving of Libby's Vienna sausages packs around 190 calories, 16 grams of fat, and a sodium load that hovers between 790 and 820 milligrams. That's nearly half a day's worth of salt in a snack that vanishes in 2 bites. But here's the real shocker. The fat outweighs the protein. 9 grams of protein versus 16 grams of fat. That's not balance, that's bait and switch. Seniors with blood pressure meds, cholesterol concerns, or kidney strain aren't just eating a snack. They're playing chicken with their health. And let's not skip the ingredients list. Alongside mechanically separated chicken and pork, you'll find sodium nitrite. That preservative has been linked to higher cancer risk, especially when paired with processed meats. It's not just old rumors either. The World Health Organization has been warning about nitrites for years. Europe has already set tighter limits on this additive, while US shelves stay fully stocked with these cans. Safer in Europe? Absolutely. Midway through the can, you'll notice the texture. It's soft, but not in a pleasant way, more like gummy clay. The casing splits with a rubbery snap, releasing salty oil that coats your tongue. Ever wonder why your stomach twists after just 2 bites? That mix of fat, sodium, and preservatives isn't made for comfort. It's made for cheap shelf life. You won't believe what's lurking inside. Even the serving suggestion is misleading. Libby's shows these sausages on crackers, sliced into neat circles, pretending to be finger food. But if you've ever tried it, the aftertaste clings to your mouth like metal shavings. That's not a party tray, that's punishment. The FDA has logged repeated consumer complaints over canned meats, with off smells, bloated cans, and lining defects. And yet, this brand remains one of the best-selling canned meats in the US. That's the betrayal. The label screams, ready-to-eat protein. The can delivers chemical steam and stomach cramps. So if you want quick protein from a can, skip the sausages and reach for Wild Planet salmon or bumblebee tuna in water. Both give you lean protein and omega-3s without the fake snap and nitrite hit. And if you think mystery meat in a can is bad, wait until you see the chili that's basically a salt brick. But before we jump into number 3, don't forget to subscribe for more tips to keep your food safe and your family healthy. Taking the number 3 spot, here's the chili that brags about being hearty but leaves you with a heart attack. Wolf brand chili, no beans. This can look comforting on the shelf, plastered with cowboy fonts and bold colors, promising authentic Texas flavor. But twist the lid and you're greeted by a greasy red swamp that sloshes around like an oil slick. That's not dinner. That's danger in a steel container. So, what's actually inside this can? A single serving, just 1 cup, clocks in at 390 calories, 28 grams of fat, and 950 milligrams of sodium. Let's pause on that last number. That's nearly half your daily salt limit, gone in a single serving. And here's the kicker, nobody eats just 1 serving. The whole can holds close to 2 servings, which means you're downing nearly 2,000 milligrams of sodium in one sitting. That's almost the entire daily max the American Heart Association recommends. But here's the real shocker. It also sneaks in trans fat. Even if the label shows 1 gram, that's per serving. Finish the can and you're closer to 2 grams of trans fat, the very stuff the FDA and WHO agree should be avoided completely. Why? Because it clogs arteries, raises bad cholesterol, and drives up your risk of heart disease. For seniors on heart meds or blood pressure pills, this is a recipe for disaster. Would you really call this dinner, or is it more like eating a greasy chemical experiment? The texture tells the truth. Crack open a can, and the chili slides out in one wobbling mass. The fat pools at the top in a shiny layer, and the smell hits like a wave, salty, smoky, and oddly metallic. The beans are missing, so what you're really spooning into your mouth is meat paste suspended in chili oil. And don't forget the all-American image plastered across the label. Wolf brand sells itself as a Texas tradition, a chili that's been around for over 100 years. But the recipe has shifted from kitchen tradition to corporate shortcut. Preservatives keep it shelf-stable for years, and those additives are the price your body pays when the cowboy charm fades away. Ever opened a can and thought, this doesn't even look like food? That's the Wolf brand experience. So if you want chili without wrecking your arteries, make your own with low-sodium beans, fresh vegetables, and lean ground turkey. Or at least grab Amy's organic medium chili, lower sodium, better ingredients, no greasy aftershock. Wolf brand chili, no beans, pretends to be hearty comfort food, but under the cowboy hat, it's just a fat bomb waiting to slam your arteries. Think greasy chili is bad? Wait until you spoon into peaches that pour more sugar than a vending machine soda. At number 2, it's the fruit that pretends to be healthy while drowning in syrup thicker than cough medicine. Del Monte peach halves in heavy syrup. The label screams fruit, fresh, natural sweetness. But crack the can, and you're hit with a cloying, sticky smell that's closer to candy shop fumes than orchard air. The peaches glisten like they've been varnished, sitting in a golden lake that coats your spoon like molasses. And here's the real shocker. 1/2 cup serving packs 16 to 21 grams of sugar. That's about the same as a fun-size Snickers bar, hiding under the disguise of fruit. Eat the whole cup, and you're basically guzzling down the sugar load of a 12-ounce soda, all while thinking you've made a smart choice. Ever thought you were doing your body a favor with canned fruit? Think again. Let's talk betrayal. Del Monte markets these peaches as picked at the peak of ripeness. Sounds like an orchard fairy tale. But the truth? The fruit is swimming in heavy syrup, a mix of corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup, and plain white sugar. It's dessert pretending to be dinner. Now here's where it gets personal. For seniors, this isn't just about calories. That sugar surge spikes blood pressure, stresses the kidneys, and crashes blood sugar levels. The CDC reports that 1 in 3 Americans over 65 already live with diabetes or prediabetes. Add in meds for hypertension or kidney disease, and eating a bowl of this fruit can set off a chain reaction in your body you didn't bargain for. But here's the real kicker. In Europe, most canned fruit is packed in juice or light syrup. Safer, simpler, less loaded. Why? Because the EU cracked down on high fructose corn syrup years ago. Meanwhile, US brands keep drowning peaches in sugar sludge because it's cheap, shelf-stable, and addictive. So yes, once again, it's safer in Europe. Have you ever scooped a spoonful of canned peaches and felt your teeth ache before you even swallowed? That's not fruit. That's sugar with garnish. And let's not skip the texture. The peaches collapse in your mouth, gummy and soggy, with none of the crisp snap of fresh fruit. They leave a syrupy film on your tongue, like cough syrup, pretending to be a snack. But don't panic, there's a fix. If you actually like canned fruit, grab the no sugar added Del Monte line, or better yet, canned peaches packed in 100% fruit juice. They still taste sweet, but you'll avoid that chemical sugar bath. Or skip the cans altogether and go for frozen peaches, picked ripe, flash frozen, and without the syrup sludge. Del Monte peach halves in heavy syrup aren't fruit. They're dessert pretending to be fruit, and your body pays the price. Syrupy fruit felt dangerous, but this last one is worse. Beans that smell like lard and spike your blood pressure instantly. Taking the number 1 worst spot, here's a can that smells like lard before you even heat it up. Rosarita traditional refried beans. The label screams authentic Mexican flavor. The commercials show happy families spooning it onto plates. But peel back that lid and what you really get is a thick, greasy paste that hits your nose with the smell of old shortening. 1/2 cup serving packs about 580 milligrams of sodium. That's nearly a quarter of your daily limit before you've even added rice, tortillas, or cheese. And let's not forget the fat. These beans are traditionally made with lard. That means more saturated fat, the kind that clogs arteries and raises cholesterol. 1 spoonful and your arteries are already working overtime. But here's the real shocker. The can looks small, but eat the whole thing, and you're loading your body with more sodium than the FDA recommends for an entire day. For seniors on blood pressure meds, that's not just unhealthy, it's dangerous. Sodium spikes can trigger swelling, dizziness, and even heart strain. Pair that with the saturated fat from lard, and your kidneys are crying for help. Does that sound like authentic comfort food, or does it sound like a slow ticket to the ER? Now, let's talk betrayal. Rosarita markets these beans as authentic and traditional. Sure, lard is traditional, but so was smoking indoors. Times change and we know better. They could use heart-healthy oils. They don't, because lard is cheaper, fattier, and keeps the texture thick. The result? A can that feels like nostalgia but treats your heart like garbage. Open it cold, and you'll see a solid brick of beans and fat. Heat it up, and a glossy, greasy sheen rises to the top. The texture turns gummy, sticking to your spoon like glue. It's not smooth, it's not fresh, It's a canned wall of salt and fat. Ever wondered why you feel bloated after Mexican night? It's not the tortillas, it's this can. Now here's where Europe beats us again. In many EU countries, food regulators ban excessive use of additives and push for lower sodium thresholds. But in the US, it's still buyer beware. Rosarita knows most shoppers won't read the fine print. They just trust the branding, and that's the trick. So what's the fix? Easy. If you actually like refried beans, grab vegetarian or low-sodium options. Amy's organic refried beans with green chilies, for example, use organic ingredients and skip the lard. Or better yet, buy plain canned black beans or pinto beans, rinse them to cut sodium by up to 40% and mash them yourself with olive oil. It takes 5 minutes and you'll dodge the fat bomb. Would you really keep feeding your heart lard disguised as beans? Rosarita calls it tradition. I call it trouble. It's not dinner, it's a salt brick in a can, and that's the worst of the worst. Now, let's flip the script. 4 canned foods that are actually worth buying. Starting off our safe picks, bonus number 1 is the salmon that puts real nutrition back into your can opener. Wild Planet Wild Pink Salmon. Unlike the greasy mystery cans we just tore apart, this one actually delivers on its promise. You're not getting lard, you're not getting syrup. You're getting clean protein pulled straight from the cold waters of Alaska. Crack this can, and you don't smell chemicals or oil slicks. You smell actual salmon. Firm flakes, light pink, no rubbery sludge. And here's the kicker. It's packed in its own juices, not drowned in brine or sauce. That means nothing artificial gets in the way of real fish flavor. Each 3-ounce serving gives you about 17 grams of lean protein. That's fuel your body can actually use. And here's where it beats nearly every cheap canned option. The omega-3 fatty acids, roughly 700 milligrams per serving, according to the label. The American Heart Association recommends about 1,000 milligrams a day for people with heart disease. This can get you most of the way there. But here's the real shocker. Instead of jacking up your blood pressure, this salmon helps lower it. Studies show omega-3s can reduce triglycerides and keep your heart rhythm steady. For seniors on blood pressure meds or blood thinners, that's huge. Contrast that with the 580 milligrams of sodium in those Rosarita refried beans. This swap isn't just better, it's life-saving. And let's talk sourcing. Wild Planet doesn't sell farm-raised salmon crammed with antibiotics. Their cans are filled with wild-caught Alaskan pink salmon. Cleaner waters, fewer toxins, and a more sustainable catch. Compare that to certain imported brands flagged by the FDA for high mercury or questionable processing. Europe pushes stricter standards on farmed fish. In the US, we're left reading labels and hoping for honesty. Wild Planet actually delivers it. Ever wonder why Spam and Vienna sausages leave you sluggish and bloated? It's not just the fat. It's the additives, sodium nitrite, fillers, preservatives. With this salmon, you swap all that for a nutrient-dense meal you can trust. This is fish you can actually trust. Here's how to use it. Drain lightly, toss it on a salad, or mash it with avocado for a spread. No extra salt needed, no chemical aftertaste. It's fast, it's clean, and it won't send your blood pressure through the roof. So here's the bottom line. Wild Planet. Wild pink salmon isn't a gamble. It's proof that not every can is a trap. Instead of grease and regret, you're getting protein, omega-3s, and actual flavor. And if you want something even richer, the next salmon takes the crown. Bonus number 2 brings us Wild Planet Wild Sockeye Salmon, the deep red fish that tastes like an upgrade instead of a compromise. Crack open this can and you'll see the difference immediately. The color isn't pale or washed out, it's rich, ruby red, like something pulled straight from a high-end seafood counter. And the flavor? It's bold. Sockeye naturally has more oil than pink salmon, which means a deeper taste and more omega-3s. A 3-ounce serving delivers around 1,200 milligrams of omega-3 fatty acids, more than what the American Heart Association recommends for an entire day. That's not marketing fluff. That's lab-tested nutrition right in your pantry. But here's the real shocker. Most canned foods send your blood pressure soaring with sodium. Sockeye salmon? It's clean. Just fish, a pinch of salt, and the bones left in. And those bones? Don't throw them out. They're soft, safe to eat, and they give you a surprising amount of calcium. Seniors who struggle to get enough dairy can pick up a third of their daily calcium needs from just half a can. It's canned, but it feels gourmet. You can actually feel good about putting this on the table. Vitamin D levels run high in sockeye, around 500 IU per serving. That's about half the daily value, helping bones, mood, and immune systems. Compare that to some countries in Europe, where vitamin D is added to staples like milk because deficiencies are so common. Here in the US, this salmon covers that gap naturally. Now, let's talk betrayal, the stuff this replaces. Instead of drowning your arteries with 950 milligrams of sodium from Wolf brand chili or spiking your sugar with Del Monte peaches in syrup, sockeye salmon gives you protein, minerals, and fats your body actually needs. It's the opposite of canned regret. Ever open a can of cheap tuna and get a metallic smell, gray flakes, and that chemical aftertaste? With sockeye, it's different. The flakes are firm, the flavor is rich, and there's no strange aftertaste to make you question what you just ate. Why settle for cans that leave you bloated and sluggish when you can get fish that supports your heart, your bones, and your brain? One FDA nutrition survey showed that 9 out of 10 Americans don't get enough omega-3s. That's shocking, and it explains why heart disease rates keep climbing. This can of sockeye salmon helps fix that gap without you even cooking. Use it in pasta, salads, or sandwiches. Or just eat it with a squeeze of lemon. It's quick, it's filling, and it won't leave you crashing the way salt-loaded canned meats do. Wild Planet. Wild sockeye salmon doesn't pretend to be healthy while hiding junk. It delivers nutrition that keeps your heart strong, your bones solid, and your meals satisfying. And maybe salmon isn't your thing. Maybe you're more of a tuna person. Don't worry, we've got you covered next. Landing in our next must-eat slot is Bumblebee Skipjack Light Tuna in water. Tuna that doesn't load you with mercury like the scary stuff sitting next to it on the shelf. Open the can, and you get firm flakes, clean aroma, and lean protein without the greasy film you see in oil-packed versions. This is the safer pick, and here's why. Skipjack naturally has lower mercury than albacore. That matters because the FDA still lists canned albacore among the higher mercury fish. Seniors, kids, and anyone on heart medication don't need that extra risk building up in their system. Skipjack averages about 1/3 of the mercury compared to albacore. That's a big difference over time. Still think all canned tuna is risky? A single 3-ounce serving gives you roughly 20 grams of protein with less than 100 calories. That's lean fuel without the junk. The water-packed version keeps calories lower, while the oil-packed cans can add unnecessary fat, and not the good kind, the sodium. Some tuna cans are loaded with added salt. Bumblebee's in-water version keeps it reasonable, but always check the label. A no-salt added version is even better if you're watching blood pressure. One study showed rinsing canned tuna underwater can reduce sodium by up to 35%. That little rinse could save your heart. Have you noticed how tuna often gets the blame for mercury scares? Here's the thing. Not all tuna is created equal. Skipjack and light tuna are the safer bets. Albacore and big eye? Not so much. Europe even enforces stricter mercury testing than the US. The fact that some of those higher mercury cans still make it onto shelves here tells you who the food lobby really protects. Would you trust a can that quietly harms your heart over time? This is why Skipjack stands out. It's not pretending to be gourmet. It's not fake smoked flavor in a brine. It's just fish, water, and sometimes a pinch of salt. That's it. Seniors looking for brain support from omega-3s can still get a decent dose, about 250 milligrams per serving, without the baggage of mercury overload. Make tuna salad with Greek yogurt instead of mayo. You'll cut the saturated fat while keeping protein levels high. Or toss it over greens with lemon juice for a quick heart-healthy lunch. Here's the punchline. This is tuna that actually respects your body. It fuels you without the mercury gamble, it's affordable, and it fits into any quick meal. And our final pick proves beans don't have to be blood pressure bombs. Stay tuned. Rounding out the list, we've got Bush's best low-sodium black beans. Proof that canned food doesn't always need to taste like salt water. Crack one open, and you don't get the sting of brine in your nose. You get beans that look like, well, beans. Firm, dark, and ready to use without drowning your heart in sodium. Here's the key difference. A regular can of refried beans, like the ones we just covered, packs around 580 milligrams of sodium in just half a cup. Bush's low-sodium black beans cut that nearly in half. That matters because the American Heart Association says your daily sodium should stay under 1,500 milligrams if you want to protect your heart. Eat one serving of the regular stuff, and you've already blown a third of your day's limit. With this version, you've got breathing room. It's the bean that fights for your heart instead of against it. These beans also bring fiber, about 5 to 6 grams per serving. That keeps digestion steady and helps regulate blood sugar. For seniors dealing with diabetes or insulin resistance, that's no small win. On top of that, each half cup delivers around 7 grams of protein, making it a filling side or even the base of a quick meal. But here's the real shocker. Bush's doesn't drown these beans in additives. The ingredient list is short. Beans, water, and a touch of salt. No lard, no mystery fat, no seasoning blend that hides MSG. It's simple food, the way canned goods should be. Some people still hesitate with beans, worried about gas or bloating. The fix? Rinse them. A quick rinse under cold water can reduce sodium even further and wash away some of the starch that causes digestive issues. That little trick makes these beans even friendlier to your system. Let's compare it to the villains we just covered. Rosarita refried beans hit you with saturated fat from lard. Wolf brand chili gives you almost 950 milligrams of sodium in a single serving. Libby sausages throw sodium nitrite into the mix, a preservative linked to higher cancer risk, according to the World Health Organization. And Del Monte's peaches drown in syrup that's basically liquid candy. Next to those, these beans feel like a lifeline. Why settle for a salt bomb when the healthy option is right there? It's also worth noting the FDA still struggles with processed food labeling. Companies can legally list a serving that looks small on paper but doesn't reflect what people actually eat. Bush's, at least in this case, provides a can you can trust without the usual smoke and mirrors. Have you tried low-sodium canned beans before? Or do you stick with the regular stuff out of habit? Be honest in the comments, because this one could split the room. The punchline? These beans won't stab your heart with sodium. They give you fiber, protein, and a clean ingredient list that doesn't read like a chemistry set. They prove canned food doesn't have to be the enemy. So there you have it. The worst cans to toss and the safe cans to trust. Hey, thanks for watching. Some cans betray your health, others back you up. What's the worst canned food you've ever cracked open? Metallic, greasy, or sugar sludge? Drop your story in the comments. Want the truth about what's really hiding in your pantry? Click it on the left. And don't forget to subscribe for more food truths.